Yet another elite quarterback has been added to the AFC conference, so the question bears asking, how are the New York Jets ever going to represent the AFC in the Super Bowl? Let's go ahead and let's get after it. Before I get into the video, if I could get you to please jet up the like button, and if you're new here and you enjoy the content, please consider subscribing to the channel. I do want to let you know we'll be live this upcoming Wednesday night. We'll be live streaming and discussing all things Jets off season. The link for that stream will be in the description. When you take a look at the list of quarterbacks in the AFC, it is daunting to say the least, with two newcomers in Deshaun Watson being traded to the Cleveland Browns and Russell Wilson being traded to the Denver Broncos. That is two more truly elite quarterbacks being added to the conference. These are not just good quarterbacks. Russell Wilson is a Super Bowl winning future Hall of Fame quarterback. Deshaun Watson has led the NFL in passing yards and again has had Pro Bowl seasons at the position, has led the Texans to the playoffs, and they nearly topped the Kansas City Chiefs in the playoffs just a few years back. So this is a damn good quarterback that the Cleveland Browns are adding to their roster. Then when you take a look around the rest of the AFC, you just see a number of other elite quarterbacks and good quarterbacks in the conference. I see guys like Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, Justin Herbert, Joe Burrow, Lamar Jackson. And by my count, that's 7 elite quarterbacks in the AFC. And last time I checked, there are only 7 playoff teams in each conference by the end of the season. 2 more quarterback names that I think should be included in the list as being good veteran quarterbacks are Ryan Tannehill of the Titans and Derek Carr of the Las Vegas Raiders. Say whatever you want about those quarterbacks, they are not pushovers. Ryan Tannehill has taken his team to the playoffs, in years past, so he is respectable. And Derek Carr is a former Pro Bowl quarterback who just got Devontae Adams in the mix. So that's a bevy of quarterbacks that are going to be really, really challenging to go up against. And if that wasn't enough, if that was not, the cherry on top for you, I'll give you another. There are 3 second-year, first-round quarterbacks in the conference that will be playing in the NFL next season. Trevor Lawrence of the Jacksonville Jaguars, Zach Wilson, our very own, for the New York Jets, and then Mac Jones for the New England Patriots. All in all, that's 12 quarterbacks that I believe are either elite, good, or second-year, first-round quarterbacks. All right, enough about these other quarterbacks and these damn teams. So what does this mean for the New York Jets? And quite honestly, guys, the additions of Russell Wilson and Deshaun Watson certainly do make the AFC much more challenging, but I really don't think that it changes the game plan for the New York Jets. So there's a couple of things I want to talk about. Number one, building the lines. Our defensive line has to be as good, if not the best, in the AFC for us to be able to compete with these other teams. I think if you're talking about guys like Carl Lawson coming back from the injury, we need him to fulfill, what we expected when we signed him from free agency. His recovery from his injury is of utmost importance for the New York Jets defense and for their success in the short and long term. Quinn and Williams coming into now, I believe, his 4th year in the NFL, and he has to absolutely take another step. And I know it's asking a lot out of him because, we've continuously asked more out of him being the number 3 overall pick. But Quinn and Williams has to take another step this year. As that interior pass rusher, he has to be able to impact the quarterback on a game-to-game basis. It can't be one of those situations where we see him just flash and dominate in one game, and then the next week we wonder, is he hurt? Is he on the field? We need to see him every single game making an impact, just like we see some of these other defensive tackles do in the NFL. With the Jets holding picks number 4 and number 10, in the NFL draft, I'm willing to almost guarantee that the New York Jets take an edge rusher with one of those picks. It's more or less a question of who is it going to be? Is it going to be Kayvon Thibodeau? Is it going to be Trayvon Walker from Georgia? Is it going to be George Karlaftis, Jermaine Johnson? There's a number of guys that could be in consideration. And again, I think that that's one of those players that like Elijah Vera Tucker on the offensive line, and I'll be talking about him next. We need the guy that we take in the top 10 this year to get after the quarterback, to be an elite pass rusher in the NFL for the New York Jets, getting after some of these AFC quarterbacks that I just mentioned. I've talked a lot about the need to be able to get after the quarterbacks in the AFC, but we also need to take care of our own quarterback, building up a very, very strong offensive line. And I do think that Joe Douglas has made a ton of progress in building this offensive line for the short term and the long term, drafting Mekhi Becton and Elijah Vera Tucker in the first round of the 2020 and 2021 NFL drafts. Say whatever you want about Mekhi Becton, I still believe in the very, very high talent ceiling that he has. And again, I think that if he can get healthy, get stronger, and get in great shape, it doesn't really matter to me whether he's on the left side or the right side. I think he can dominate at either one. He's done it at Louisville, so I think that the Jets are simply just trying to make sure that he's ready to play football in 2022. Elijah Vera Tucker may not be talked about enough amongst Jets fans for being one of the cornerstones of this franchise moving forward. He has that Pro Bowl, All-Pro ability on the offensive line. We just added Laken Tomlinson in free agency, a perfect scheme fit, a great short-term fix for the right guard spot. Something that does need to be considered is that he's going to be transitioning from that left guard spot to the right guard spot, which he has not played since college. And again, I don't really think it's as big of a deal as some are suggesting. I think he's going to do just fine on the right side. And then George Fant, is he going to be the left tackle? Is he going to go back to the right tackle? I think the best situation right now is for George Fant to play left and for Becton to play on the right side. I think that's where you're going to get the best version of both players. So to me, starting from left tackle to right tackle, this offensive line has the youth, the veteran leadership, and the experience to be able to do the job of protecting Zach Wilson, giving him the time in the pocket, and allowing him to make special plays, which we've seen him do just of last year. And lastly, I think that Joe Douglas just needs to continue doing what he's been doing, which is using free agency in an aggressive way, but also in a very smart way, being prudent and making sure that these moves do not hamstring the Jets in the future and offering them flexibility. If these free agent moves don't work out, they need to have a way to get out of the contracts. And that's why you see Joe Douglas signing so many of these 1 to 3 year contracts, and many of which allow the Jets to get out of them after the first year or second year. Continue to stockpile draft picks. I talked about it in another video, how Joe Douglas should very strongly consider moving back from that 10th overall pick, adding more picks for this draft and for the future. And so I think that's ultimately what the plan has to be to take on this daunting task with all of these elite and very good quarterbacks in the AFC. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. I am going to read and respond to all of them. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Hope you have an awesome day. Go Jets, and I'll see you guys next time.